From the time that you file, right, to
Uh-huh.
the time that, there's an eviction or a set out, where that particular owner can obtain possession of their property back. In Dallas County, it's you're specific to here in Dallas. So in this county, what is that timeline? Is it 2 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 12 months? Just overall
Yeah.
average, if you could.
Well, I'm going to give you a lawyer answer. It depends. Okay. My husband used to complain, "Can I never get a straight answer out of you?" I said, I was trained not to say yes and no. I was trained to say it depends. But it depends. Now, and like I said, didn't want to give you the impression that I don't do evictions outside of Dallas. I do them in Fort Worth. I do them all over.
Yeah.
But the most of them end up coming up in Dallas. But um, from the time, you give your notice to vacate, you have to wait until that notice to vacate period has expired. So let's just say 10 days there. Then you can immediately file a petition with the court. The court generally takes about, they generally set the hearings for anywhere from 10 to 14 days in it down the road. Okay. So then we have the hearing. And if we get a judgment, then there's a 5-day waiting period to allow the tenant time to appeal. So now we're at anywhere from 15 to 20 days right there.
Mhm.
If they appeal, well, let me back up. If they don't appeal, let's just take that first. If they don't appeal, then as soon as the 5 days have expired, then we can request what's called a writ of possession, which is just an order from the court saying you are entitled to possession and entitled to, set the people out. So at that point, when we get the writ of possession, that usually takes another day for the court to issue it to us. And then it's sent over to whatever constable, whatever precinct that the property is in, to the constable's office. They usually follow up with the landlord within 5 days, maybe sooner. It just depends. It just depends on which constable you get. It gets sent to, whatever. And then the constable arranges with the landlord for a specific date to do a set out.
All
And
right.
so usually you're looking at about 45 days, start to finish if there's no appeal. If there is an appeal,
Mm-hmm.
then after that 5 days, the tenant has to file an appeal. And like I said, they're supposed to post a bond, but if they can show that they don't have the money to
Mm-hmm.
post a bond, then they can appeal with an affidavit of inability to pay. Then the county court will set a hearing. Now that is what's taken a little bit longer. I would say it's anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks before the county court sets the court date. And then we have the hearing. We have another hearing. It's an all new, from the beginning hearing. And at that point, you have to provide testimony. It's a lot more formal than the JP hearing. Okay. So then, if the landlord wins there, then it's again that 5-day period for them to appeal, which the only appeal they would have at that point is to appeal to the Texas Court of Appeals. But they
Okay.
can do that. They can do that, but they have to post a bond. And generally it's much more difficult to appeal without posting a bond than it is from JP court to county court. So if that all happens, then you're looking more like 60 to 75 days to get set out.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so we're talking about as quick, and this means that, I mean, you're rocking and rolling, right? You're doing every single thing you're supposed to do, submitting the right paperwork, and you're not missing a beat. That's 45 roughly to 60 days. And if there's an appeal in the process, what I'm hearing is that can be upwards to 75 to 90 days. Now,
Yes,
that's, you know, that's a long time period of lost revenues, right?
correct.
And you not having possession of your property, which means that your property, there's things that could be going on with your property as far as damage,
Absolutely.
et cetera, et cetera. I will say, Galen, is my coworkers, my partners, and different investors, et cetera, that are on the East Coast and some of the other Sun Belt states are very jealous of you that you have a 45-day to worst
Yes,
case
that
scenario
is true.
90-day timeline, because it's in the East Coast and other areas you're talking about a 6 month to, in some cases, a 12-month timeline from when you file or give notice, rather notice of vacate, to when you do actually have the set out or eviction process